All right, you guys. So we are going to continue looking at exponential functions. So yesterday we just wrote the exponential function, and then we evaluated it using our calculator. All right, now today we're just going to look at identifying a piece of the exponential function and whether or not we can determine if it represents growth or decay. So I've got the Delta Math assignment up. It says, given the following exponential function, identify whether the change represents growth or decay and determine the percentage rate of increase or decrease. All right. So one of the things we got to be able to do is we got to be able to identify key features before we graph it because that's going to help us if we're graphing it. If we already know what the equation looks like in our mind, because then that tells us whether or not we're using our calculator correctly. All right. So what we need to look at if to determine growth or decay is we're just looking at two simple things. For growth, the B value is greater than 1. If it's decay, the B value is between 0 and 1. All right, so if I take the example that's been given to me in my problem, so y equals 210, parentheses 1.09 to the x. All right, so yesterday we talked about what these different parts were. So y, remember that is your final amount. 210 is your initial amount. This is your B value. That's where it's hiding, and that's your rate. Okay. And then usually X represents some time period. We talked about it's usually in years, but not always. Okay. So now that we know what all these different parts are, they're asking us if it's growth or decay. So the B value, is it greater than 1? Well, 1.09. Okay. That whole value as a whole, 1.09, is greater than 1. So my first part on my Delta Math assignment is I have to make a selection here. And I'm not going to interact with Delta Math because it makes a delay in my computer. Okay, so I would just click on this drop down menu and I would click growth or decay. And since this one is growth, I'm going to leave it be. All right. Now, the next thing it says, it says it's percent increase. Okay. So they actually want you to solve for R. Okay. So what they're asking you is they want you to solve for R. Okay. Well, you have to choose. If you identify growth, you're going to use 1 plus R. If you choose decay, you're going to use 1 minus R. Okay. Well, since it's growth, okay, we're going to write the equation 1 plus R equals, and we're just going to plug in our V value, 1.09. And I'm going to solve this equation. So I'm going to subtract 1. All right. And so my R equals 0.09. Okay. All right. Well, that's a decimal. And if I'm looking at my Delta Math screen, it says it needs a percentage. Okay. Well, 0.09, if I want to convert that to a percent, I multiply by 100. Okay. So I just take out my calculator and I do 0.09 times 100. My answer is 9. So my R is 9%. Okay. All right. And so that's my answer for this problem here. Okay. All right. I will come back with a second problem with an example with decay. So you have one of each, and this will be your assignment for today. Okay. Good luck.